Theresa Caputo's granddaughter's big event, ex-husband Larry Caputo not invited, expresses dissatisfaction. Long Island medium star Theresa Caputo recently hosted a big event for her granddaughter. However, her ex-husband, Larry Caputo, was not present at this special moment. It is reported that Larry was not even invited to the event, which he has publicly expressed his dissatisfaction with. Larry Caputo said, "It's a kind of hostility towards me. I will never forget this behavior from Theresa." Theresa and Larry separated in 2018 after a long marriage. However, many believe that the fact that he was left out of his granddaughter's ceremony is a new indication of the strain in their relationship. Larry Caputo sat alone in his quiet apartment, flipping through his phone absent-mindedly. Social media was flooded with pictures of his granddaughter's big event, smiling faces, decorations, laughter. Yet he wasn't in a single one. He hadn't been invited. He clenched his jaw, reading through the captions. A perfect family moment. 3 generations together. But was it really complete without him? He had been there when his daughter was born, when she took her first steps, when she needed a shoulder to cry on. Yet today, he was forgotten, erased from the picture. His phone buzzed. A message from an old friend. "Saw the pictures. What happened? You weren't there," Larry sighed. He wasn't sure how to respond. He could pretend he had been busy, make an excuse, but the truth burned inside him. "I wasn't invited." He typed back, hesitating for a moment before hitting send. A minute later, another message popped up. "That's rough, man, Theresa." Larry didn't reply. He knew Theresa had made the call. Their divorce had been civil at first, but over the years, wounds had deepened. They had shared a life for decades, but now it seemed like she wanted to erase even the memory of him. He picked up an old photo from his desk, one of him, Theresa, and their daughter at a birthday party long ago. They had been a family once. No matter what had happened between him and Theresa, hadn't he earned the right to still be part of these moments? His fingers tightened around the frame. He would remember this day, the silent message it carried. Maybe he had lost his place in Theresa's life, but he wouldn't let that happen with his granddaughter. Larry put down the picture and reached for his phone again. "I'll visit her this weekend. I won't let this keep me away." He hit send. Some doors may have closed, but others, he hoped, were still open. However, in a quiet Long Island town, Thomas had spent years battling a heavy sorrow. His daughter, Emily, had been taken from him too soon, her life tragically cut short in a senseless crime. Every night, he would sit by her room, surrounded by photos of the girl who had brought him nothing but joy. But as much as he tried to remember the good moments, the grief would always overwhelm him. One day, while scrolling through the local news, Thomas saw an ad that caught his eye. Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, was offering private sessions. For a split second, he thought about how impossible it seemed that anyone could truly connect him to Emily. But something deep within him urged him to make the call. What did he have to lose? A week later, Thomas found himself sitting in a small, cozy room with soft light filtering through the curtains. Theresa Caputo greeted him with a warm smile, her presence calming despite the storm of emotions brewing inside him. "I know you're here to seek a message," she said softly, "but I want you to take a deep breath and open yourself to the possibility of what might come through." As she began to speak, Theresa closed her eyes and slowly raised her hand as if reaching for something beyond the veil. "I have a young woman here. She says her name is Emily, and she's your daughter, Thomas." The room seemed to shift, the air thick with emotion. Thomas gasped, his heart racing. He had never spoken of Emily's full name to anyone, and yet Theresa had said it without hesitation. Emily's spirit began to communicate through Theresa, her words filled with love, sorrow, and a deep, aching need to heal her father's heart. "I want you to know that I'm at peace." Emily's voice echoed softly through Theresa's voice. "And though I left this world too soon, I am not angry. I forgive everyone, including the one who did this to me. But I need you to forgive too, Dad." Tears streamed down Thomas's face as he listened, every word feeling like a balm to the deep wound inside him. He had never been able to let go of the anger, the pain of not knowing why this had happened to his daughter. But hearing Emily's forgiveness, it was as if the weight he carried for so long began to lift. Theresa continued, "She's telling me she visits you. She's with you when you sit in her room, when you look at her pictures, and every time you feel a soft breeze or hear a song on the radio. That's her. She's sending her love, trying to let you know she's still with you." Thomas could hardly believe what he was hearing, but his heart felt lighter. For the first time in years, he felt the unbearable pain soften. As the session ended, Theresa placed her hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Emily wants you to move forward, to live again, because she will always be with you." Thomas left the session feeling as if a weight had been lifted from his chest. He wasn't completely healed, but he had received something more precious than he could have ever imagined: the knowledge that his daughter was at peace and still very much a part of his life, in ways he hadn't understood before. And though the journey of grief would never be easy, Thomas knew now that he could continue carrying Emily's love with him wherever he went. However, one chilly afternoon, the small, cozy room was filled with the soft hum of light music, setting a peaceful tone. Nicole, a woman in her mid-30s with tired eyes and a heavy heart, sat across from the well-known medium Theresa. Nicole had come with a heavy heart, seeking closure after losing both of her parents to a sudden illness. Who had been quiet for a moment, closed her eyes, feeling the room's energy shift. Then, in her calm, confident voice, she spoke. "Your mother is stepping forward first, Nicole. She has a presence that is warm and loving. She wants you to know she's been with you since the moment you lost her. There's something significant about the way she left. She didn't want to cause you pain, but it was time for her to go." Nicole's throat tightened, her eyes welling up. She nodded, her voice trembling. "I never got to say goodbye properly. I thought we had more time." Theresa gently reached across the table, her hand resting on Nicole's. "She wants you to understand that you did. The last time you spoke, she knew you were right there, even if it was just for a moment. She's showing me a symbol, a necklace." Was there something about a necklace that she used to wear? Nicole's breath caught. "Yes, she always wore a locket. I have it with me. I never took it off her." Theresa smiled softly. "That locket is her way of saying she is always with you. She is surrounding you with love and protection, even now. There's a peace she feels now, and she wants you to have that same peace." Tears rolled down Nicole's cheeks, but there was a faint smile on her lips. She felt a sense of calm that had eluded her since her mother's passing. Theresa's expression shifted as she continued, "I'm hearing your father now. He's stepping forward, and he's showing me a strong, silent type. He's telling me that he always tried to protect you in his own way, even if it didn't seem that way." Nicole wiped her eyes, laughing through her tears. "He was always so quiet, always worked so hard. He didn't show much emotion, but I knew he cared." Theresa nodded. "Exactly. He wants you to know that his love was always there, even when words weren't. And he's proud of you, Nicole, proud of how strong you've become." A wave of emotion hit Nicole again, but this time, it wasn't just sadness, it was a sense of release. She had spent so much time feeling lost without them, but hearing from both her parents in this moment gave her a sense of peace she hadn't expected. "Thank you," Nicole whispered. "Thank you for helping me feel them again." Theresa smiled warmly. "It's not me, Nicole. It's your parents who wanted you to know they are always with you. And remember, whenever you need to feel their presence, just close your eyes. They're there." However, Carla had always been a strong woman, navigating the challenges of single motherhood after the untimely passing of her husband, Mark. Their love was deep, a bond that defied time, and when he was suddenly taken from her, the world felt unbearably empty. Raising their young daughter, Lily, by herself was a daunting task, and though she carried on, Carla couldn't shake the overwhelming sense of loss. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Carla was watching television, her thoughts drifting in and out of focus. The show that caught her attention was Long Island Medium, and before she knew it, she was captivated by Theresa Caputo's ability to connect people with their loved ones who had passed. Maybe it's silly, Carla thought to herself, but could someone like Theresa truly reach out to Mark? She had been to therapists and counselors, but nothing seemed to fill the void that Mark had left behind. The thought of hearing his voice, even if just for a moment, filled her with both hope and fear. In a burst of curiosity, Carla dialed the number to book a session. To her surprise, she was able to schedule an appointment quickly. A week later, she found herself sitting in front of Theresa Caputo, her hands trembling slightly. Theresa sat across from her, a calm presence despite the energy swirling around them. After a few moments of silence, Theresa's eyes seemed to focus inward as if tuning into a frequency only she could hear. "You've been struggling, Carla," Theresa began softly. "There's a man here. He's showing me his face. He's holding a picture of a little girl. I believe this is your husband." Tears welled up in Carla's eyes, but she didn't say a word. "He wants you to know, Carla, that he's been watching over you. He's proud of you, more than you'll ever know. He says that he sees you working so hard, but he doesn't want you to carry this weight alone." Carla gasped as the flood of emotions she had been suppressing poured out. Theresa continued, "He's showing me something about a letter you wrote him, hoping for a sign. He says he's been sending you little signs, but you've been too caught up in your grief to notice." Carla's heart raced. She had indeed written a letter on the anniversary of Mark's death, begging for any kind of message. But that letter was tucked away, unread, in a drawer. Theresa's voice brought her back to the present. "He says to look again. You'll find something you didn't expect." The session ended soon after, but Carla couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. As soon as she got home, she found herself walking to the drawer where the letter had been stored. She pulled it out, hesitated for a moment, and opened it. Inside the envelope was a small, crumpled piece of paper, something she hadn't noticed before. As she unrolled it, she saw that it was a drawing of Lily, her bright smile captured perfectly. It was a sketch Mark had made the night before his accident. Carla sank to her knees, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She finally understood. Mark was never truly gone. His love, his presence, and his spirit were still with her, guiding her through the darkest moments of her life. She wasn't alone. With tears in her eyes, Carla whispered, "Thank you, Mark. I will always carry you in my heart." However, it was a quiet evening in Long Island when Theresa Caputo, the famous Long Island medium, sat in her cozy living room, preparing for another night of readings. As the candles flickered softly, a sense of anticipation filled the air. She could feel something powerful coming her way. At exactly 7 p.m., her phone rang. A nervous voice on the other end introduced herself as Emily, a woman, her voice trembling with a mixture of grief and longing. "Theresa, I need your help," Emily said. "I lost my daughter, Lily. She was murdered by her boyfriend. I haven't been able to move on. I just need to know if she's okay, if she's at peace." Theresa's heart ached. She had dealt with grief before, but this case felt different. She promised Emily she would do everything in her power to make the connection. "Let me see what I can do," Theresa replied softly. "We'll bring Lily's spirit through." As Emily sat in her living room, clutching a photograph of her daughter, Theresa closed her eyes, trying to tap into the energy around her. Within moments, she felt a sudden chill in the room. A young woman appeared in front of her, her face blurry at first, but slowly becoming clearer. The young woman's eyes were filled with sorrow, but there was something else, hope. "Lily," Theresa whispered. The spirit nodded, and in an instant, a flood of emotions washed over Theresa. She felt the anger, the pain, and the heartbreak of the violent act that took Lily's life. But there was also love, so much love, and a message. Lily had something to say to her mother. Theresa reached for her phone. Emily, are you still there? Yes, I'm here, Emily replied, her voice barely a whisper. Theresa closed her eyes again, letting Lily's energy flow through her. Lily says she forgives him. She wants you to know she's not angry. She doesn't want you to carry that burden. She wants you to heal. Emily gasped, tears welling up in her eyes. What? She says she forgives him? Theresa nodded. Yes, she knows what happened was out of her control. But she's free now, she's in a better place, and she wants you to live your life, to honor her memory in a way that will bring peace, not anger. Emily sat in stunned silence, feeling as if a heavy weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Theresa continued, Lily says you're holding on to her things, her clothes, her books. She wants you to keep 1 or 2 mementos, but let go of the rest. It's time to move forward. For the first time since Lily's tragic death, Emily felt a sense of peace. It was as if her daughter had come back to tell her that it was okay to let go, to live without the constant weight of her loss. As the reading ended, Theresa passed along one final message. Lily is always with you, Emily. She's your guardian angel, and she wants you to know that she's proud of the strength you've shown. You'll find happiness again. As the call ended, Emily sat there in silence, tears running down her face. But this time, they were different. They were not tears of despair, but of release. She finally felt connected to her daughter again, and it was as if a piece of her heart had healed. Theresa Caputo closed her eyes once more, knowing that another soul had found peace, and so had the mother who had suffered so much. It was a reminder of the power of love, the connection between the living and the dead, and the healing that can come when we open ourselves to it. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Mina. Hope your day is so well. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.